Martin Scorsese is one of the greatest directors of all time. Some might even argue that he is the greatest director of all time, and to that I would say that's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that. And it just so happens to be the case that he's got a new movie out. Some new cinema, if you will. And it's given me a lot to digest. Without spoiling anything, Killers of the Flower Moon is a film based on a novel written by David Grann, which is based on true events that unfolded in early 20th century Oklahoma. The film follows Leonardo DiCaprio's character Ernest and Robert De Niro's character William as they conspire to maliciously obtain the inheritance of an indigenous family, with Lily Gladstone's character Molly at the center of it all. And you know what? This movie is really good, but it also falls short of being one of Scorsese's best films. I think this could have been a masterpiece if it weren't for a few issues. But first, let me get the good stuff out of the way. Being the master that he is, of course Marty is gonna have all the technical aspects in check. Rodrigo's cinematography, Thelma's editing, the sets and blocking, it's all great. No surprise there. DiCaprio and De Niro do their thing. But to me, the biggest takeaway was Lily Gladstone, who is the emotional core of the film. So much is hinging on the effectiveness of her performance, and she completely knocks it out of the park. I know she has a few notable films on her resume, but I haven't gotten around to them quite yet, so this was my first impression of her. And yeah, she's brilliant. The film, for the most part, is riveting. The first two acts strap you to your seat and force you to witness these atrocities unfold. It's a slow boil that wears your morale down, making you wonder how someone can be capable of such abhorrently evil acts. Scorsese has adapted from true events numerous times, and every time he remains objective, challenging the audience, never overstepping or virtue signaling. He dares to give evil its fair share of understanding, but it's never a justification, and this is once again on full display with Killers of the Flower Moon. De Niro in particular plays a deceitful and reprehensible person with the utmost effectiveness. For a guy who has the gift and the curse of being infinitely recognizable by name and face, he manages to completely disappear into this role. He's still as great as ever. Leo is doing exactly what you'd expect from him, delivering an effective and believable performance, even if I think his character is somewhat underwritten. Now, I have not read the book, so my impression of this film would be notably different if I had, but Ernest in general is not a very compelling main character in comparison to other Scorsese films. I think Leo does a lot with what he's given, but generally he's kind of just an idiot with a bit of a conscience. Don't get me wrong, he's a serviceable lead. I don't know if I'd say it's the best performance of his career like some might have you believe, but you know what? It's probably worth a nomination. My issues with this film really start to take shape in its final act. After reaching an unbelievably gut-wrenching and emotional peak in the second act, it loses a lot of steam. The screenplay begins to stray further from the Osage and Lily Gladstone's character in favor of the litigious aspects of the story, when Plemons, Fraser, and Lithgow enter the mix. Of course, these are important details. But if the film is at its core a story about love and betrayal allegorically parallel with America's relationship to the indigenous people, as Marty puts it, there is an unfortunate lack of that thematic element in the last 60 to 75 minutes. To me, the plight of the Osage is the true emotional weight of the film, which at times nearly moved me to tears, with the powerful imagery and masterful direction, in particular those scenes with the owl. The realization they have of their fate is one of the most devastating moments in any film that Scorsese has ever made. The relationship between Gladstone and DiCaprio's character is also somewhat underdeveloped, with the passage of time being conveyed somewhat less comprehensibly at times. I can only wonder what the longer cut of this film might have looked like, which is admittedly silly considering its 3.5-hour runtime, but hey, there's some pretty good 4-hour movies out there. Before going into this film, I had seen some minor criticism online about the limited attention the Osage received loved in comparison to the white guys, and I very much brushed it off because I know the type of filmmaker I'm dealing with here. It's like Marty's shtick to frame the story in the perspective of the bad guy, but after leaving the theater, I couldn't help but resonate with those criticisms because of how invested I was in the Osage tribe. Now, it could just be my fault for expecting the film to go in a direction that it ultimately didn't, and I'll qualify that with an eventual rewatch my opinion can definitely change. Will I make another video on this film in the future? It's very possible, but for now, this is how I feel. Regardless, this is an important story. I think the fact that this film exists trumps any small gripes that I may have. I wasn't even aware of these events until the announcement of this film. I think the experiences and perspectives of Native Americans is a pretty huge blind spot in Western media, so hopefully Killers of the Flower Moon can help get the ball rolling for more stories like this to be told in the future. Despite how I feel, this is still one of the best films of the year. And I'd love to hear your perspective in the comments, and since you made it to the end of the video, you might as well leave a like, and you might as well subscribe. But yeah, thanks for watching.